Last month, the Taliban issued a 114-page, 35-article document that aims to what it calls promotion of virtue and elimination of vice as per the Islamic laws. The new laws, focusing largely against women, were approved by the Taliban Supreme Leader Hibtullah Akhundzada. One of the restrictions makes it illegal for a woman's voice to be heard by male strangers in public. It also prohibits women's faces from being seen in public. Mayank Chhaya report spoke to Mahbouba Seraj, the well-known campaigner for Afghan women and children's rights, to understand how the new laws would make life worse than it already is. She is currently visiting the United States from Kabul. Mahbouba Seraj. Welcome to Mayank Chhaya Reports. Ms. Seraj, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here. So glad to see you.
Unfortunately, the subject is not pleasant at all. I was reading reports out of Kabul. There is a new 114-page, 35-article document that the Taliban says is going to promote virtue and eliminate vice. One of the articles forbids a woman's voice to be heard by male strangers in public. If you were in Kabul, you would be arrested, I suppose. So
that's right.
What do you think is going on? I mean, this is beyond absurd now, isn't that?
It's absolutely beyond absurd. And the strangest thing is that, I mean, they're doing this thing. And what absolutely surprises me is the fact that the whole world is watching and thinking that it's perfectly fine to be doing these things. That is the part that I'm sorry, I really don't get it. It's like one group has gone maybe, are doing their thing. That was their thing always. But what about the world? Was it their thing always also? I have no idea what is going on. But yeah, they're all accepting it and they think it's it's the way we are and this is the way we want. And it's an internal policy of my country and then everything is fine and they should be doing that. That's it. And nobody's saying anything. And right now, my voice is haram, for God's sakes. I mean, everything else was our face, our body, everything. Yeah. Now my voice, our voices are haram. It should not be heard. And if our voices are heard, the men of Afghanistan are going to get excited. I mean, really? This is where we are? I have absolutely no idea what on earth is going on. But hey.
How does it work at the? I'm sorry to be tickled by this somewhat, but how does it work at the practical level? I mean, women come out, they may have some little voice coming out at some point in life while they're on the streets. What is the Taliban's end game here?
As much as you I don't know what they mean. Actually, what they're trying to say or they're trying to do, I believe, is really to stop the voices of women when it comes to for them to maybe talk about problems, maybe raise their voices about it, maybe complain about it, because there's tons of things to be complaining about, especially when it comes to women in Afghanistan. They have taken away everything from us. So, I mean, of course, our voices are going to be raised at some point, and they just wanna put a stop to that. So if that voice is raised, then it's going to be considered as a crime, literally, and not in the eyes of God, but which they are representing, Allah now, and they are doing that. And of course, they know better than anybody else. So yeah. And even, and the government now or whoever is in charge, they can have it as an excuse to put these women behind behind bars, or beat them up, or I don't know what to do with them. So that is the name of the game. It's just a control. It's a control thing all over again. And even with on the voices of the women, because there was nothing else they could control. The women, they said, hijab, we all wore a hijab. They said to be, covered up, we all were covered up. So, we did all of those things. But the only thing that we didn't do was that, that we would talk once in a while, or once in a while raise our voices, or maybe talk in our family, or with a raised voice, or whatever. And they had to stop that too. So that's what it is.
What kind of a man is Hibtullah Akhundzada? I mean, the Taliban leader who is issuing these decrees.
Mr. Chaya, the other day I was really thinking about this. And I was thinking about the way this whole thing is. And I started, thinking that this must be another eyes and other hands and other thoughts and other heads involved in this. Because by doing something like this, what they are doing to Afghanistan, actually, uh, they are putting Afghanistan in a corner and keeping it away from the people a lot more than before. And it's a complete not acceptance of the people of Afghanistan, and for that matter, the de facto government or whoever is there. And I was thinking that this is a kind of a plan that the enemy of a country will do. Honestly, it's
And
not.
who would
And they
that
will
be?
give it as a suggestion, and these people will do it. Don't forget that I know I'm not maybe supposed to be like that, but I am. I always think of Pakistan and I always hold them, responsible for these things. I really do,
I
in
see.
one way or another, because they have their hands in everything. I saw them coming on the, 3 years ago when when the Taliban arrived in Kabul. The ISI person was in Kabul. I really did see the pictures. It's not that somebody is trying to fool me. No, they were there. They went to Kandahar. They went and talked to a lot of the people. A lot of things started to change after their visit. And the only one country that is sitting as our neighbor that can have their hands in all of this and kind of get some benefits out of it is Pakistan. And I do have a feeling, and I'm not saying anything. I don't have any kind of for sure anything in my hands to say they are doing this for sure. But it actually kept me awake in the middle of the night, and I started to think about it, and I said, "Wow, it must be something like that, because otherwise, who would do something like this? Why do something like this? The rest of the Islamic world is absolutely, they are so amazed by this, and at the same time, some of them are really disgusted by the whole thing.
But even Saudi Arabia, the home of absolutely oppressive Wahhabism, doesn't have that, right?
No. I mean, even them, because it's not the country now that I see. It's not the religion. It's really the man, whoever is ruling it.
Right.
So now in Saudi Arabia, there is a man that looks at the world, and the future of the world and future of the women and future of Saudi Arabia and the world. So, he makes those decisions. And then there are men that they make these decisions, and there are other men in this world that they take advantage of it, and they push us into that corner of oblivion by the world. And we are all saying, we are thinking it's absolutely okay, which is absolutely not. But,
How do you think this works in terms of its enforcement beyond Kabul? Because I wonder whether the Taliban writ really runs across the country. I doubt seriously.
Yeah, but the thing is, the interesting part is that they are starting all of this, putting it into practice outside of Kabul, in the provinces outside first. Yeah. That is what they always do. Now they don't come up and start implementing something straight in Kabul. They go and start implementing it in the provinces, and then they come to Kabul.
So that's an interesting point.
Sorry?
That's an interesting point that they bring it from province to Kabul.
Absolutely. They did this thing in the beginning when they came to Kabul. They started from the provinces, and they saw the fact that how successful they were. And I mean, 3 years ago, I'm talking about, in 2021. So that success, and they got the idea that the best way is really to start implementing it first in the provinces and then come to Kabul.
I see. You came to the U.S. on this visit about 3 weeks ago, I believe.
I think it's about that time. Yeah. That much.
So you're fairly well versed with what's been going on for the last nearly 3 years since the Taliban has been in charge. Exactly what do you think? Where do you think Afghanistan is headed now?
Disaster. no matter how much I think, I don't know. It's like from one darkness we get into another darkness, and then from that darkness we get into another darkness. So it's getting to be the most. I'm sorry to say that, but I'm finding it absolutely ridiculous. Uh, I don't. Who is supposed to be now? Of course, they don't want to hear my voice at all, because I was going to have a talk with a few of them and really try to talk to them and see, if there is anything we can come up with, some kind of a agreement, talking about the future of this country, the future of Afghanistan. Is not for Afghanistan to go backwards, every 10 years, 10 years, 10 years, and every single one of these and announcements that are coming out from Kandahar, that they are taking us backwards. This is not the way to go. This is not the way to be in the world. The world is going forward, and we really have to take our part in it. And I was going to have a talk with a few of them, and maybe, but now, my voice is absolutely, they can't hear my voice. So, and that's considered, as I said, it's a crime. It's a sin. So there you are, So I don't even know what to say to them. And we have to talk. We have to sit down and talk. I'm still a believer that if we do talk, there is a possibility of maybe putting some kind of a sense and really coming up with something that might be agreeable to both sides.
While you're here, do you ever make any outreach to Washington, the State Department, or anyone else at all?
Mr. Chhaya, I am kind of I should say that, and I'm saying it here. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed at the world in general, and especially United States and the State Department and all of that. I am, and especially now, because of just before the election, nobody's going to hear what I have to say. They really don't care. But even before that, and I don't know after what is going to be happening, I hope that the United States, starts really listening to some people, to somebody, to some ideas from inside Afghanistan, and really put that into practice properly, and not doing it like the way they are doing it right now, which is really talking from both corners of their mouth, and that is not right at all. It doesn't sit right with us. It doesn't sit right with the woman in Afghanistan in general, with the philosophy of the United States, with the way this country is supposed to be. It's democracy, everything. It just goes so much against all of that it kind of it is very disappointing for me. So that's why, no, I have not reached anybody, and I really wouldn't, because it's going to be a waste of my time and theirs. And right now they're very busy.
Right.
They have their hands full.
In the event that Kamala Harris does indeed become president, do you think the very fact of her gender may have some influence on the way U.S. looks at Afghanistan, especially the women of Afghanistan?
It all depends, because again, as I said, it really has to do with the person a lot in the world. I don't know what kind of a person really she is. I'm glad she's running right now, but I don't know Kamala Harris very much, her personality and what she stands for, because so far she has always been she's been the vice president. So whatever the president said, she had to say yes, because that's the job of vice president. I know that. But as far as herself and what kind of ideology she has personally, what she stands for, what does she really think of, for example, Gaza? What does she really think of the Israeli invasion of that part of the world, and of the way the Middle East is going right now, and the way this whole thing is? I don't know what she really thinks of that. So I can't say, but I hope she, well, anyways, as I said, she will have her hands full, because there is a lot that she has to consider as a president, and also the fact that she's a woman, and some parts is going to help and some parts is not.
Yeah. On the question of Israel, Gaza, I think she has struck a reasonable balance going by her pronouncement so far, in the sense while saying that the US will stand by Israel, she's also talking equally firmly about the rights of the Palestinian people, especially in the context of two-state solution. She
Yeah.
is for that. So I suppose there could be some glimmer of hope there.
I hope so. I hope so. And right now, for her and for the world, to tell you the honest truth, really, and the balance of the world, and the fact that because there is that one man that wants to push the world towards a third world war, and that's Netanyahu, and I don't know why he's thinking like that, but for her that will be the most important thing to do at this
Right,
point, really.
right.
I mean, that will be her priority. If I was going to be the president, I would think of Gaza and I would think of Palestine.
Right.
Absolutely first. Absolutely. Yeah.
Once whoever is the president, once they settle down, do you think anyone in Kabul, among the Taliban leadership, would reach out in any way to revive some sort of relationship because it's
Oh,
now practically dead?
Mr. Chaya, I'm sure of it. I'm sure they are in a relationship already. The only thing is that we don't know anything about it. They are very much in a relationship. I mean, all of this does not happen without two countries, being in some kind of a relationship, and not at all. So I'm sure they are going to, maybe make it better, make it stronger, come and talk about it or whatever. But they're never going to say it out loud, or no, the world will ever know anything about it, because it's going to be, it's not going to work well for either one of them, for the United States nor for
Right.
the Taliban. So they're going to keep it hush hush. But oh yeah, they are going to be talking. Yes, they have, and they are, and they will in the future too. Yeah, for sure.
Just the last point, I wanted your, once again, the question that I often ask you. What is life like in Kabul? Describe a day when you step out on the streets. What exactly is going on in Kabul?
I think I've told you this before also.
Yeah,
Life in Kabul is not that horrible that you come in and you see terrible things happening. No, it's not. It's not like that. It's really it can be very calm and very quiet. I mean, you don't hear There is one thing that I do miss, is the sound of music from the streets, and
which is
that was
banned now.
always going on. I really miss that, and that's not happening. But it's okay. After a while, you get used to it. But in the rest, it's fine. One sees women on the streets of Kabul all covered up, a bit more covered up than before, but they are walking around. They are going to places. They are going shopping, and they are there. Sometimes they go to the restaurants. Life goes on. The weather is going to be beautiful from now on, because autumn is going to be there. We
Right.
had a very hot summer, so no, it's normal, looks normal. Everything looks normal, but it's not normal, because
Right.
that whatever is going on there, that's the part I cannot explain, because everybody comes and says, everything is fine. No, everything is not fine. It cannot be fine. If you have put half of the population of a country in that kind of a predicament, it's not fine. It's
Absolutely.
just not fine. The only thing is that nobody can really see it, no, feel it the way we do, because we are smack in the middle of it, and we feel it differently, because I feel it differently, and so is my daughters and my girls and every woman in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So that's why the difference is there. But otherwise, life in general goes on as life goes on in general. It's
Right.
like, yeah, every
And
country, any
finally,
country in the East kind of a thing.
yeah. And finally, your broad thoughts on Afghanistan's economy, because there has been so much talk about destitution and poverty having grown enormously. What's the scene now?
Well, that's the thing. The economy should be right now our number one priority to work on. Even the situation of, I even want to approach the woman situation in Afghanistan, what is going on against them, from the point of view of economy. If we could get that going, at least, that
Right.
would be something. That would be a step forward towards positivity, because that will bring about jobs, that will bring about hope, that will bring that will change. That will start another wheel turning in that country, which makes all the difference. A lot of that's the way the world goes. So if we could do that, if we could put the kind of attention and pressure in that area, I do believe that might be our success in a way. So I'm hoping to start really putting the whole attention on that. I am working with my women on that area right now. Even though I don't have much of a choice, that's the thing. Even from the economy point of view, we don't have a whole lot of a choice. I mean, how many of the hand embroidery can we do? How many of these things can we do? We have to be able to get involved in other things for the woman in order for women to start, moving ahead and being involved in the economy of the country. But it doesn't matter as long as there is it's a place to start. I'll take that, and then we go forward with it to see what happens afterwards.
On that note, Ms. Siraj, I want to thank you again for your time. You're always generous to me, and I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chhaya. I am so happy to see you.
Likewise. Likewise.
Absolutely wonderful.